Grade 3. Now we have the reading skill. Now this lesson is going to be about the plot and theme. Now what's the plot and what's the theme? The plot is the sequence of the story in which there is a beginning, middle, and the end of the story. So it's the sequence. It's the sequence. The first, second, third, next, something that happening in order. It's a sequence of the story. Now, what's the theme? The theme is the main idea of the story, the big thing that the story is discussing. The big thing that the story is discussing, like the story is talking about something important. So it's the important part of the story, the most big idea of the story. Now, let's read the story and try to find what's the plot and what's the theme. Okay? Now, let's read it carefully. The ants felt sorry for the grasshopper. What's a grasshopper? It's an insect. This is called a grasshopper. Now, when the ant felt sorry, when I say I felt sorry for something, meaning I felt sad for them, I feel sad for them, like you feel like, you're feeling them, they are looking bad and sad, and you felt sorry. Now, why did the ants felt sorry for the grasshopper? He'd saved no food and was starving. So, this grasshopper, he was starving. He was very hungry and he didn't have any food. So the ants, what did they do? So they shared what they had. When you have food and you share it with your friend, for example. So because the grasshopper doesn't have any food, so they shared what they had. The grasshopper swore he'd remember their kindness and repay them someday. Meaning what? He felt very happy from what did they do to them. They helped him through hard times. He was feeling bad and he didn't have any food, and the ants helped him. So he said one day he will do them a favor, like for their kindness, because they were so kind with him. When summer came, the ants were playing outside and accidentally hurt themselves. Meaning what accidentally? By mistake, like they didn't mean to hurt themselves, but they were playing and something bad happened to them. Now, how would they gather their food? Now they don't have any food. Just then, the grasshopper stopped by. He saw them and he stopped by. When he heard what happened, he went to the ants and what do you think the grasshopper will do? He told the ants to climb on his back. He asked the ants to climb on his back. The ants told the grasshopper where to go and what to gather. Soon, the tree, what's the tree? We took it before, the three of them, the grasshopper and the two ants. They had all the food they needed for the winter ahead. So yes, it did happen that the grasshopper, they did a favor for the ants because they helped them before. And he helped them to collect their food and to get their food. Okay, that was the end of the story. Now, the questions. Let's read the question. What happened at the beginning of the story? At the beginning of the story, what happened? Who can answer this? Who knows what's the answer? Try to guess. What happened at the beginning of the story? So number one, that the ants shared their food with the grasshopper. So this is the first thing that happened. This is the first idea in the story. Okay. Now, what happened in the middle of the story? What do you think in the middle of the story happened? Like middle is something between the first and the last. What happened in the middle of the story? The ants hurt themselves and they didn't have any food. They could not collect the food because they were hurt. So this is the middle of the story. It's not at the beginning and it's not at the end. It's something in the middle. Now, what happened at the end of the story? At the end of the story, what happened? The grasshopper, he helped the ants gather the food. So this is the first, middle, and the last part of the story. This is the plot. Okay. Now, what is the big idea of the story? What's the theme of the story? What do you think the lesson you understand from the story? What did you understand? To help others because one day you might need someone to help you. Yes. So the idea of the story is to help other because one day you might need someone to help you. Now that was the reading skill for the story, plot, and theme. I hope you all understand. Thank you.